to do anything to those bats.
Okay. All right. All these viral hemorrhagic fevers, are they caused by animals? Are they all zoonotic?
Okay, what I would say, they are zoonotic. Some are actually transmitted by rodents. Some are transmitted by arthropods, where you have the mosquitoes and the ticks.
Are you dignifying arthropods with the word animal?
Well, if I can use that for them, and
Okay.
then for the Ebola and Marburg, you now have human-to-human transmission. Same thing with Lassa.
Okay. Now, we had a case in Kaduna just a few days ago. You know, this 19-year-old young man came down with something that looked like Ebola, and there was panic all over the country. Has it reached Kaduna already, you know, and all that? But it was later found out to be dengue fever. What is this dengue fever?
Well, you know, like what I said earlier on about viral hemorrhagic fever, their presentation is almost similar. They come down with fever. Before you know, there's bleeding problem, hemorrhage setting. So at the initial onset, if you do not do any test to confirm, you will not be able to pinpoint the particular one you're dealing with, apart from if you now put issue of regions into play. I mean, some are known to be endemic in specific areas.
Okay, we'll come back. Let's come back to dengue fever
Yes.
after the break. We'll need to take a short break now. We're going on a short break. When we come back, more about Ebola and Ebola-like diseases. Stay with us. You're welcome back. It's still Channels TV and it's still Health Matters. We're talking about Ebola and other diseases that look like it. And we're talking about dengue fever. This is the time that you can call in. You can interact with us, give us your experiences. If you're a survivor, you could call, talk to us about your experiences. The number to call is 012206-842. That's 012206-842 while the conversation continues. We're talking about dengue fever. What causes it?
Well, dengue fever is part of the viral hemorrhagic fever. It belongs to the Flavi family, where we have the yellow fever and we have the dengue fever. Basically, it is transmitted by mosquito bites. There is a specific type of mosquito. We have different members of
Anopheles causes malaria.
Yes.
Is it the same mosquito that will give dengue?
No. Aedes, that is what transmits dengue fever. If there is
Do we have those here?
Yes, we have them in Nigeria.
But we haven't really heard so much about this dengue fever. Is it possible that this mosquito has been giving people dengue fever and we have not been recording them, or we don't know?
The thing with dengue usually is self-limiting. It has a biphasic presentation.
That's a very big word.
But that is what I want to try to, two phases.
Okay.
It can stop at the first phase. It does not get to the second phase. So if it stops at the first phase, we are not going to have any hemorrhagic symptoms.
Okay, so it just comes and then goes almost unnoticed.
Control the fever. Once the fever is well controlled, the pains that come with it is well controlled. Most likely the patient might pull through, especially if that is their first infection. One thing with dengue, if somebody has first infection, there is tendency for the body to fight and pull through with the dengue infection. But a subsequent infection, because they are different serotype, 1 to 4. So if somebody has infection,
that's a different strain now comes in.
Exactly. It is very bad. You can have fatal presentation if it is not well managed.
Okay, now I want to know, can dengue be transmitted by touch, just like Ebola?
No.
I believe we're having a call. Let's hold that on for a minute. We're having a call from Ayo in Lagos. Hello, Ayo.
Yes.
We can hear you, Ayo. Your question or your comment?
Hello?
Hello, we can hear you. Speak on.
Hello? My name is Ayo. Please, can the doctor tell me what are the symptoms? But I want to know is about Ebola disease.
Symptoms of dengue or? Symptoms of what disease?
Ebola.
Ebola. Okay, he wants us to run through. You know, we've done that a lot here. Thank you, Ayo. We've done that a lot here, spoken of the symptoms of Ebola. But then, of course, perhaps everybody hasn't heard. So let's go over them again.
Okay, basically, symptoms of Ebola, we have fever. Apart from the fever, there can be headache, chills, and rigor at the initial stage.
Oh, even rigor?
Yes.
That's this
Yes.
trembling, jerky trembling, sort of.
Let's put it that way, but it's not a common thing with Ebola. It's more of the fever, the headache,
Okay.
and then you have the stooling, the vomiting and the stooling.
Okay.
That you have with Ebola at the initial phase before it progresses to the hemorrhagic stage where you have bleeding from different parts of the body.
And this bleeding can come from the ears,
Can come
the
from the
nose,
ears,
the
setting
eyes.
of lines, vomiting blood.
And this is also peculiar to other hemorrhagic fevers.
Yes.
Okay, so there's the problem of differentiating one fever from the other, as was this case of dengue in Kaduna. So it's not as if we shouldn't be concerned about the dengue, right?
Yes, we should be. Because, as I said earlier on, I mean, most people come in, especially for children and people less than 15 years of age, they usually have dengue. But because we are not looking for it and we manage the fever and other associated symptoms, and before you know it, the patient pull through. So you will not think of...
So it's the second infection that is usually really bad.
Yes.
And that's what we should be looking out for. But now that somebody has had that fever in Nigeria, is it... You said it's not transmitted by touch.
No.
Does that mean it stops with him? It cannot be transmitted anymore?
If there is no mosquito, if that species of mosquito is not around to bite, to feed on him and take it to the next person, there is no problem.
We will need to come back to that. We're having a call. Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Tom. Okay, Tom from Delta State. Please, your question, Tom.
Hello?
Hello, Tom. We can hear you. Speak.
All right.
Your question, Tom.
Are
If
you
you
not
can hear.
having a national health plan for all these sicknesses? Because we realize that in some countries,
It looks
because
like
we realize that in other countries, we have a health plan that takes care of all these, so that before it comes, we get ready for it. Not when it comes, we now start having a fire brigade approach to it.
Okay, I realize what you're saying. Thank you for your contribution. Did you get that? He is saying that most other places have facilities and, you know, they have structures in place to handle these things when they come, but we seem to be reactionary here. Are we changing? Is it getting better?
That is part of our health care problem in Nigeria. But with Ebola, now we know that we are not adequately prepared. So work is going on in the background to be able to put in emergency response. I mean, baseline, not until we see it, but we're actually prepared that when it's coming, what are the things we should do? Okay. I don't know if you understand.
Yes.
Not to be reactionary, that when we see, that's when we jump up. No. But we are laying the foundation that before it comes, let us be prepared so that it won't come suddenly to us.
Upon us. Now, this Egyptian mosquito, you said it has to feed from the person who has dengue fever.
Yes. So
active dengue fever.
Yes. Part of the management of patient with dengue fever is you don't allow that person to sleep without mosquito nets.
So that he doesn't get this particular mosquito biting him and moving it on to someone else.
Exactly.
That is the control.
Part of the control.
How about vector control? Can we kill these mosquitoes?
Definitely. I mean, screening of doors, windows, use of insecticide, and then we prevent stagnant water around us. Those things, I mean, there have been imported cases of dengue into a place like United States, even to some other countries where you have, one thing with the mosquito is that it feels, once there is stagnant water, it's able to lay the eggs, and before you know it, from the larva to the pupa and the adult mosquito is there. So if you have any stagnant pool of water around you, you have to eradicate that so that the mosquito does not find a breeding space.
Okay. Now, we've been told that we cannot rest on our oars, even though things are getting better in Nigeria, that when things are finally okay, the problem can spread from our neighbors back into the country. Do we have the capacity to help our neighbors so that we make sure it doesn't come back to us?
Well, that's a big one. You know why I did that? A lot of even healthcare workers are scared of Ebola. So how do we want to help our neighbors if the people that can help are not ready to go? I don't know if you understand me. I mean, as a doctor, as a nurse, any healthcare worker, they are thinking, am I ready? Even if Ebola patient comes to me now, am I ready to handle them? Not to now talk of
So,
thinking of
the
going
doctors
to-
also need to be enlightened on this issue.
Definitely, because it is still there, the psychological, the mindset. I mean, a lot of doctors, a lot of healthcare workers, they've died from Ebola. So if I want to be superhero, I have to think twice.
I wish we could go on and talk about the PPEs, the fear of the doctors, but our time is totally up. Thank you so much for coming, Dr. Bodisho Jobi. It's been great having you, and we've come to the end of the program. Thank you so much for being with us and staying in there every week, listening to us and getting enlightened about what's going on out there. Have a great day and stay safe. I'm Mary Alale Yusuf.